I'm not good enough is like a foundation to every aspect of your life. And it can not only go in your business, of course, it can go into your relationships, it can go in your physical health, and your mental health, and your sexuality. And that's the danger of it.
Meet Alexander Plank, an international certified mindset coach, helping business owners become productive and spend more time with their family.
I want to bring a movement of living a healthier life, should it be in private and business, because it's linked together. At the end, it's all a huge biological system and it works together.
In today's episode, we dissect the number one limiting belief that is holding you back both in life and business, how to identify the source of that limiting belief and how to actually reframe it.
And all comes down to vision. Because vision and purpose are shown in studies to be healthy, and a human needs a vision and a purpose because that's why we are here.
Mindset is not just a buzzword. It's a way to change your life. And this episode shows you how. Enjoy. Mindset. It's such a misunderstood topic. Why?
I think people often are misled by it because mindset is always this point of we need to sacrifice everything, and it's always this point of how other people see me and how society sees me. And of course, in the business world, it's the whole point of, okay, I want to be a part of this 1% of this hustle culture. And we often forget what actually is in this word mindset. So it's mind, and our mindset is connected to the brain. So there's actually neuroscience behind it in psychology, how it works. Just a big word, what's often thrown around in so many contexts, and nobody knows how it really works on your body biologically. And of course, what obviously is the power behind it if you use it right.
And can you briefly explain it to us? Like, what is actually the meaning of this word and how does it work?
So mindset is, of course, linked to your brain, and it gives you the chance to rewrite thought patterns, but also to change old beliefs in a way that you can use it in actions, like you write it down, write thoughts down, and you create a certain kind of new memory. So the more you use it, the more deeper it gets burned in your brain. That's why we say it. And it builds this kind of brain highways, I would call it. It's easier to imagine. And the stronger the belief, the thicker your brain highway gets, because it's a muscle, you train it. And so good beliefs can be strong, but also, of course, bad beliefs can be strong. But both gives you the possibility to change the mindset in your way, how you like to be.
Nice explanation. And I love the fact that you say that the more you do it, the better it gets and the stronger you believe. And if you think about it, every single thing that we learn along the way in our life, it's something that someone, either our parents, teachers, our peers, or the network that we surround ourselves with, repeated to us multiple times, or we repeated that thing a lot of times until we so strongly believe it, even sometimes not being true. And some apply, if I understand correctly, if you want to change that, right? We have to be able to tell the new truth, if you want, or the new way of thinking so many times that we start to believe that. Or I understood correctly, or it works in different ways.
Exactly. So like I said, environment can be benefiting, but it can be also damaging because, like I said, we are like a sponge. We get so much noise and so much information in. The more we hear it, the more it gets stuck in our head. And it's exactly the point that it's the same like with self-talk. When we talk about ourselves badly, and the more we do it, the more we believe it. And it starts with this whole point of self-awareness and, of course, getting to the root of the belief. So the first thing I have to do is really to understand, okay, what's going on or what I'm really thinking. So it's often just noise, and it's just getting so fast by us that we often need to stop, take a step back and say, okay, what belief is right now running the show up there? What thought? And then the first step would be to realize it, to write it down, the normal exercise you do here, and then you dive deeper into this belief. Okay, where is it coming from? Why is it appearing? Why it's triggering? And it gives you the chance to go back in time and to find out where it started and to change the whole situation there, to give it a new meaning, like a reframe. We talk about reframe in coaching normally. That's how you can change a belief and also to create new beliefs.
And in your work, what's the most common limiting belief that people have?
The most common one, and also for me personally, the most hardest one, is I am not enough. And I think everybody was at this point in our life through society, through the education system. And it was a belief I had for at least 22 years. And there are still people out there in every field who struggle with this point. And it really is the starting point to a new journey of yourself. It's the point, I am enough the way I am.
Yeah, it's so true. Like so many people I talk to struggle with that. And like you, probably more than 30 years, I struggle with that limiting belief as well. And it's strange, right? Like, because often we are capable individuals that you can achieve an enormous amount of things, and we still believe about ourselves that we're not enough, and that we end up procrastinating or aiming for perfection because of it, and so many other downsides of these limiting beliefs. And do you identify as well as a pattern what are the most common sources of this limiting belief?
So one, I think it's also the point where I say, okay, we need to change society's education system, because it starts there often, because kids grow up, kids are curious, and kids are full of life, and they always tell the truth. So they're just little angels, I would always say, because they're untouched. Say it like that, because nobody just said, okay, you have to sit down or you have to do this and that. And then they come into first grade. And the first thing, sorry if I say it this now, but it's really this way, is shut up and listen. And then we grade them on their failures. So the grades are all based on failures, and that through 12 years. So you come out of the A level or also in university, come out, and everything you've done all your life is to be focusing or to realize, okay, I'm so much worth because of my grade. So if you have a bad grade, it's because I made failures. And it's of course something we, when we are older, now can understand where the problem is. But kids define themselves over these grades. And that's personally for me where it started. So I can exactly tell the moment where for me started, I'm not enough. Because it's something when you go back in time, and of course a lot of methods to do that, it can exactly tell me where the first time really appeared this I am not enough moment. So I would say it starts really for most of them in school, because it can sabotage you all your life and you don't even realize it, because of course it's subconscious.
Yeah, that's dangerous. And especially as you move along in your life and you arrive at adulthood, then other things come into play. Like, for example, social media comparison. Like the perfectionist display on social media platforms like Instagram, where people compare themselves with others that are looking better or they are having better vacations and so on. And like, oh, what I'm not, how should I do in order to achieve that as well? Or, and all the other traps that we fall into. And, but yeah, indeed, like education plays a huge role in this, and unfortunately not a good role. And if someone is listening now and they resonate a lot, and unfortunately, I will say a lot of people will resonate. In the same time, there's a good thing because you become aware how they should investigate the root cause. And once they arrive at that point, either in school or childhood, where maybe they have siblings and their parents compare them, like, oh, you're not as good as your brother or sister or whatever, and or other things that might occur, what they can do about it.
So there are few possible exercises, of course, methods you can use. The easiest one is always, of course, reframe it, but It just changes the whole picture of it, but it doesn't go to the root where it started. One easy exercise, I would say, what's also a lot of fun, and we call it like tab exercise, because you can write it on the beer tab where you stand your beer on it. So it's something you can use. And it works like this, that you write down the belief in 7 words. You have 7 words. And you can do it with yourself or with somebody else. It's often easier with somebody else. And he writes 7 words against it. Like everybody says, I'm not good enough, for example. Then he would ask who says it. And of course, in a longer version, 6, 7 words. And you break it down. Each step is like 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And it's a way of cracking this belief and making this first step of unarming it, I would say, easier, because you need to be aware. You need to trim it a little bit down, and then you can start getting on the root. So it would be a starting point to just the power of it a little bit down. Then another exercise what's perfect for this is set yourself like on a timeline. It's really like time traveling, honestly. Take a piece of paper, start with today, and go back in time. Really go back and think about, okay, go on the next step. When was the last time somebody said I'm not enough, or I thought I'm not enough? So really like go take a pen, write it down. I'm not enough. Today, 7th of August. Then I draw a line to another circle and really feel into the circle and go back. Okay, when was the last exercise? The last time you experienced this? And then you go back like a lifetime map till the point you get there. And that's how you find it out. And that's how you can really travel back into your childhood or whenever it occurred and find it out. And it's called change history. It's an LP format.
Nice. It's the first time I hear it, this exercise, and it's so powerful because once you do that, you have a complete picture over your actual timeline. Like maybe you won't find every single moment or remember every single moment that occurred, but still you'll be able to paint the picture of, oh, that individual or that teacher or whoever said something. And speaking of words, like you mentioned the first exercise in which you need to write it in 7 different ways, I understood correctly, and you need to use the words, exact words that person used, or...
Okay. Yeah, as I write on my belief. So I am not good enough. Everybody says. So 7 words. And then you can pick an answer also in 7 words, just to challenge me. And my answer on you would be then in 6 words. So you don't have to answer the same. You challenge me and you ask me. And so if we ask more and more, we go deeper and deeper. And the more I answer, the shorter words get. So I need to be clearer in my answer. And that's the trigger up here where I can challenge it, and you've come down to 1 word. And that's the cool thing. You can disarm it with 1 word on your side then, because you have to be really specific.
That's a cool trick, because the more you think about it, you move at some point all the negative words in a way, and then end up with that word that truly matters. If you go back a bit, this is one, like I am not enough, and projecting the downsides of having these limiting beliefs. Apart from perfectionism or being stuck and so on, what other aspects of our life or business can this limiting belief affect?
So I'm not good enough is like a foundation to every aspect, because it can spread into every piece of your life, because it's like the strongest one and it's very generistic, and can not only go in your business, of course, it can go into your relationships, it can go in your physical health, it can go in your mental health, it can go in your sexuality. And that's the danger of it, because normally we, of course, have also other beliefs or old beliefs that are sabotaging us, but they often can be found being the root of, or coming from this root of, I'm not good enough. So it really finds the way in every aspect of your life. and you will always find a reason why it comes from.
Man, that's so true. Now, while I was speaking, I was thinking that makes so much sense because it's really connected with every single piece of our life. And on that sense, it's so important. I will go back a bit again now to the exercise because I'm thinking like, all right, so identify it. I'm doing this exercise, will magically gone, or I should practice this exercise for a long time until our brain gets rewritten in, and we truly believe that we are enough.
We practice this exactly because, like I said before, it's like this thick brain highway, and now imagine you have that for 30, 40 years. So it's not like this, it's like this. It's like huge. And of course, with this practice and always coming back to it, and also including other exercises or just doing self-care, you break it a little bit up every time. It's good that you have a new belief and you use it, but it's of course affecting so many aspects that you always need to remind yourself and to bring positivity into it. So it's of course always a practice.
The root of any change, right? As much as we practice something, the better we get at it and the bigger the change. And let's go a bit back on time. Like, why you choose this path? Like, why did you enter and study and become a certified mindset coach in order to help others?
So I would say it was fascination for psychology, and on the other hand, life experience. And we actually coming back to this point of why I had this belief I'm not good enough, because it was also a part where I said, okay, we behave this way and that society treats us this way, and that we are kind of forced into systems that are not made for everyone. And for me, the starting point was in school back then, 6th class, standing in front of the class, do a presentation, got a blackout, and went red, went sweaty, and everybody laughed. And the teacher said, "You're not good enough." 6, sort of F, German grades. And that went on through the school path and also university, always coming back to this, okay, I'm standing in front of a crowd and being sweaty and having this blackout, but at a certain point, you don't know where it's coming from. So we're in the subconscious layer. And then, of course, other things happen because, like I said, it spreads through life. So I struggled with depression. I struggled with drug abuse. My mother died of cancer. And this whole point of being at the lowest point was for me the point of choosing between life and death. And I said, okay, I want to change my life and I want to actually help people not making this experience so they don't have to do it. So to be proactive or just get a better help because I didn't have help. And this was a change for me where I said, okay, we need to change society. I want to bring a movement of living a healthier life. Should it be in private and business, because it's linked together. At the end, it's all a huge biological system and it works together. And that was the starting point for me that I said, okay, I want to be the change. I want to help others not experience the same or don't have to struggle so much.
That's a worthwhile mission you're in. And it's sometimes a bit sad to have to go through hardship in order to identify a problem that needs to be solved in this world. But in the same time, I'm not sure if there are many entrepreneurs or many people that are doing something big and something that has a huge impact without actually experience a problem themselves. And you feel like if you experience it yourself, you are way more qualified to help others with. You not only overcome it yourself, but in the same time, you have a deep connection with that problem. And yeah, that's admirable. And once you start learning more and more about it, like at what point you were like, yes, I'm on the right track? Because a lot of people struggle with a lot of things and they say like, oh, I can build a solution around this problem or on that problem and that problem. And still they either it's hard to choose which one, or they try one, they keep on doing it and they're like, I'm not seeing anything here. What should I do next or whatever? But in your case, like, when was the moment you say like, this is something that I'm probably gonna do for the rest of my life?
it's right where you said it right now. It's this point of, okay, what do I do next? Because that's one of the points I see in where we also get society involved again. Is this point, okay, what do I do with my life? And it all comes down to vision, because vision and purpose are shown in studies to be healthy, and a human needs a vision and a purpose because that's why we are here. And for me personally, final point where I realized, okay, this is me and that's what I want to do, was at the end of 2023, beginning 2024, where I had burnout, extreme one. And I needed to step back because it crushed me completely. It took a lot from me and costed me a lot. And I had 3 months, I took a 3 months break to completely step back and said, okay, who am I and what is my vision? What is my purpose? And that was the point where I aligned again and realized, okay, I want to be here and I want to help people worldwide. And that was the point of coming back stronger and also way clearer and surer in my way. And the most people I see who are jumping from one thing to the next are often, but it's only my personal experience now on LinkedIn and of course also with other clients, is this point of, I want to make money. And to want to make money as a vision doesn't work, because money comes and goes and it's a tool and it's of course good to have it, but it's not a bigger purpose than yourself, because purpose and a vision is something we know it from Maslow's pyramid. Try for it, but we never completely reach it because it's a growth process. It's the life journey. And yeah, the burnout was really for me the opening door to what I really wanted.
Yeah, and exactly like before, those like low moments can be the door to so many opportunities at the end of the day, and at the same time, the impact that we are here to make. And yeah, that word that it's again, together with mindset, like purpose, it's as well thrown around a lot, but often it's as easy as living this world better than we arrived, and or simply living, but when you can make a difference like you're doing, I think that's beautiful, because when you look back in time, you won't have regrets. You experience you lost a lot, but in the same time, that teach you something and you were able to impact others in a positive way without them going through the same things that you went through. And yeah, a lot of learns from your experience. And I thank you, first of all, to open up and to share this. It's often people don't do it because they're either scared or they will feel that others will judge them. But it's obvious that you did your own inner work and overcome that. Speaking of inner work, we had a chat a couple of weeks ago and about the fact that most people don't have a business problem. They have an internal problem. Mm-hmm. And one is the one that you mentioned at the beginning. How a business person can work more on themselves in order to identify when they face a quote unquote business problem, how they realize or to differentiate between the actual, if it's a real business problem, I don't know, maybe cash flow, whatever it is, or something that has to do with them and they are the bottleneck.
So there are also a few possible ways to do it, but 2 things I would always do, what also works for me and what I do every day, is the one thing is to start your day with your vision and your gratitude, because you realize a lot when you stand up and you don't look at the phone and you just take in half an hour for yourself, you realize how your brain is working right after waking up. So if your mind is already racing, it starts within. So it's like a checkpoint. And the other thing is to write all those problems and all those thoughts down. Because the first thing you will do with that is you will relieve your mind and your brain because it's on paper. It's like you're putting it out there and setting it on the table. It just shrinks the stress a little bit. And then you can identify based on that, if it's really a business problem or if it's you. Because it's often the point when we write it down, we see that we make the problem 99% bigger in our head than it is in real life. So it's the whole point of just stepping back and bringing it on paper and to see, okay, what's actually in front of me.
And what you're sharing, it's a lot of self-awareness, a lot of work that you have to do rather than just jumping straight into, oh, I have a problem, I need to solve it, rather than having a step back and instead of rushing, checking emails, checking your phone or your laptop, to actually do that small exercise in the morning. And something that I try to do as well at the end of the day, to find what exactly happens that day in a good way, like things that, because often I was struggling with this fact that, oh my God, I haven't done much today. I didn't achieve that task or the other. But when I went on the other side, I was like, what I actually did today. And when I wrote them down, I realized, oh my God, I achieved a lot today. And
that's the key.
Maybe I didn't finish that task, but I did all the others that were a priority or much more important. And the word vision that you mentioned, like when those are aligned, like the things that you do, things that you're looking for, and basically to all the others, we can and we should say no more often if it's not aligned with our vision.
It is a key point to have those boundaries. I always say every no is a yes to yourself. It makes it a little bit easier to imagine what it actually does for yourself. And boundaries, just in a respectful way, of course, have a huge benefit for you, but also for your relationship, for your environment. Because it shows to the external clear where you're at, what are you doing right now, and how you feel about it. So it's a clear communication. And on the other hand, it gives you the chance to breathe, to save your space, to save your energy, and to focus. Because it's the most important skill there is to focus, to actually make progress then, and to actually be self-aware. And that's where the boundaries come in.
And when it comes to boundaries and clients, family members, and friends, and so on, often most people struggle with that, me including sometimes. It's even that I got better at saying no or being more respectful in my own time. Sometimes I say yes to things that shows us opportunities, but are just distractions in disguise. How we get better at it, how we make sure that we're not just saying no to a huge opportunity, or we are not upsetting someone else by saying no that are maybe close to us and they might need our time in that moment or whenever they want to share something with us.
Of course, I picked now two different examples, and the yes or no to opportunities. I think there's, of course, like I said, the vision, if it fits the vision. So you can write your vision down, can write the opportunity down and see if it's in a way linked to each other and to see if it's a possibility, because there's also, it's physics, really. When you're ready for something, you're attracted. So maybe it is just right now not for you, and then you, or it will come back better, or it will come even bigger back later. So it's also a mindset part there. But of course, I always say, okay, if it's just a little linked to your vision and there's actually something to learn, even if it's good or bad, in the end, it's always a win. You should try it in the beginning the most. And with clients and relationships, it's often the point how we communicate, because like right now we're here sitting and talking to each other, and I communicated to my wife earlier, okay, I need the space right now. Everything needs to be silent and just the space for me so I can talk to you. And if she would ask, okay, can I come in? And I said just no. It's also how you pronounce it, just how you give the context to it. It's the point of how do I communicate it and do I explain the no? Like, it's not only words, we have mimic, we have tonality, so it's a lot that comes together. And there's also the point of giving an alternative. Because when a client asks, do you have a moment for me? For me, a moment is different than for him. So it's easier to say, okay, right now I'm in this task. Can I come back to you in the evening? Or can you just write me real quick what the problem is and I will come back to you with an answer? It's just that we need to communicate different now, because we often then maybe just ghost, or we are just rude, or reacting passive aggressively. So it's everybody takes information indifferently. So it's whether how we communicate it and how we communicate the boundaries in a respectful way.
That's a nice perspective, because often it ends up with that, right? If you communicate something in the rude way or in a way that it's either disrespectful or that person feels like you're just not available, and availability is, of course, we can talk a lot about it, but yeah, the whole point is to know exactly your vision, right? And to stick to that and to basically wait in, like, is this yes to that person or that opportunity something that enrich my vision or like support my vision, or is something that will be basically stopping me to achieving it? And plus, yeah, communicating in a respectful way, in a way that everyone can understand that you have as well responsibilities towards yourself. And that's the thing, right? Like both in business and in life, sometimes you are put in this situation in which we don't know, or we don't have the tools to make the right decisions. And this is a good way to do it, like you share. Do you have any other tools or frameworks that you can share that those listening can apply in their business or life?
It's just one thought I would share that changed a lot of my thinking, is how you react to the past and to those opportunities, if you did them or not. And it's the whole point, like I said, what if we don't have the right tools right now, or not in the right state right now? And it's actually some kind of a reframe, because what we say in NLP is that in that moment that we made a decision or action, we did the best action for ourselves with all the resources and tools we had for ourselves. And it's of course clear that you would react completely different 2 weeks after, because maybe you learned something. Maybe you had another tool then, or just learned something differently, or were in another state of mind there. But it's this point of forgiving your past self, because opportunities comes and goes, and life comes and goes, but we attract the things we radiate. It's this point of giving peace to say, okay, I behaved that way because I thought in this moment it was the best positive way for myself to protect myself. And it's just a thought that many people often forget, or that you have the power and control of this to actually make peace with such moments.
You said, and indeed, often not just about ourselves, right? Often we maybe blame others, either teachers or parents or friends, because they behave in a certain way or they say something to us. And even those teachers that they say to us that we're not enough, or that we're not good enough, or and so on, they just use the knowledge and the tools they have at their disposal back then. Because if you think about it, a lot of, especially in Europe, a lot of our older generation or our parents and so on were living in quite hard times comparing to the times they are living right now. And with their knowledge, with their resources and so on, they just did the best they could. And that's at the end of the day the beauty of life. But in the same time, yes, it can have repercussions. And also us, we can learn from those experiences. We can learn from how they praise us or how they teach us and so on, in order to do better. And on that note, like parents that are having a lot of questions marks right now, like how to raise kids in a way that it's not only healthy from a mental perspective and physical perspective, of course, but in the same time to be able to cope with all the pressure that is now in the world. Because yes, we might live in beautiful times from many perspectives, but in the same times they're changing a lot of things, especially around technology and political, but we won't get into that. But technology wise, it's insane the speed that things change. How they can prepare their kids and educate them in a way that they can thrive.
So for me personally, with kids, I would say it's always a matter of dosage of technology. Because when I think about a kindergarten, I often see children that are gonna pick up from parents, and the first thing kids do, they want to talk to the parents, they want to be seen, and the parents want to talk to the kindergartner, and they just take the phone and give it into the hand of the child. And I think when we completely neglect this technology in this early stages of the child, we just trigger it to use it even more, but when the parents are not around. So it's always like this healthy kind of balance, and to also show the line where the kid needs to respect the parents and of course needs to behave a certain way, because in the early stages from 2 to 6, kids try a lot of stuff and they want to know who's the boss. And I get a lot of questions from mothers with the child at home, and they say, okay, my kid is at home, I'm tired from work, what should I do now? The kid wants attention. And it's always this point, okay, how communicate we use it, or how we communicate to the child, because there are children who just wanted attention, and when we yell at the kid or we just say here's the iPad, the attention is still missing. Not in that moment, but the child will realize the attention is missing, and it can just bring more and more problems with it, because the kid will do everything to get that attention. That also means to do stuff that is just bad. Simple as that. But I would say it's personally how, for me, children should be raised, is this, to be not take the curiosity, to really try to explain them what is going on now, why you are telling them what to do, what's the reason behind it. So they learn with you, grow with you, it's part of your family, and to be in balance with the technology, because you can't take it away from them, but you can show them how to use it healthy, in a healthy way. Because it's the difference if I show them, or just give them the iPad and say, hey, please just watch whatever you want to watch, or when I say, hey, you want to use the iPad, why don't you look up how to build a house from stones, for example. It's always this point, okay, what are we showing them? And of course, also, because I said before, pressure, to not bring the pressure from the relationship with your husband, wife, partner, whatever, and the pressure from your work to your kid. Because children are way more sensible. They will realize what's going on, even if they don't tell you that. They will realize, even if they're sitting 2 meters away and watching something, they realize when their parents are fighting, for example.
Yeah, and that's the thing with kids, right? Because you mentioned the example of a sponge earlier in our conversation, and they are like sponge. They absorb so many emotions and so many behaviors of their parents and those that grow up around. And often those behaviors materialize in real life through either strengths or some limiting beliefs and weaknesses. And if there was one single thing parents can do in order to internalize into their kids a strong belief, what that will be?
Try, I would say. That's where the curiosity comes in. The kid wants to do it, try it. And that's also the point, okay, they come back from school, do something with them. Give them the attention. You're the parent, try with them. You can try something in the nature, even if it's technology, because kids naturally won't fail anything when we don't tell them they can fail. And that's the thing what makes me, or the most sad, to be honest, is that we take this childhood curiosity away, and we need it all our life, because without that we won't thrive more, we don't try more, we don't experience more. They always say, try, not study, because you learn so much from real life and from interacting. It's just a healthier way, and it stays really in your head, to be honest.
Yeah, and that's so true. Like, if we stop trying, I won't say we stop living, but it's close to that, because
It's stop living, honestly.
yeah,
It comes
it's
to the
what's
point.
life without trying, right?
Yeah, because the human thrives biologically for more. We moved more, we explored. And that's the whole point of like, we move physically, we move internally, we grow physically, we grow mentally. And it's, we, same as nature does, we are part of nature. So everything is growing. So it's a huge system that works here together, and that we need to say it that hard, because when you stop trying, you're neglecting your inner self that it's calling for growth. Same like people die when they're alone. It's something that just shrinks and gets lost.
Powerful. And would you say that when it comes to these kids that becomes adults and maybe they're entrepreneurs, what will be their competitive advantage if they continue to try, from those that they simply go on the same path without pivoting, without realizing that if they don't try, so they're afraid of trying because something will break, or they will lose something, or either money or the business and so on. Is that a big competitive advantage, or something else?
Yeah, because it doesn't only come down to business. It comes to every aspect. It comes down to health. It comes to being an employee. And it's something you can learn for sure. Because I think when we grow up, when we are born, our own world, because everybody lives in his own world of beliefs, culture, aspects, it's something we sponge up from our parents, for example. And that's the way it was for me. And you get a lower risk tolerance, and you have more curiosity. And when you have this advantage, you won't lose. Doesn't matter if it's money or something you want to do in gym or traveling somewhere, because you will always find ways, and there are thousands of possible ways. And you make those thousand possibles because of your mindset and how you think about it, how big your thinking is. And the more bigger you think, and the more you are into this whole entrepreneurial mindset, the more and more possible solutions you get, and you can try them one by one. So it's for sure an advantage. And I would sort of say you don't not only use in business, you can use it as an employee also. It's a huge career advantage.
Exactly, because you'll be way more appreciated, even if you are quote unquote break things as you try. But often that's how you innovate. That's how you come up with unique solutions and differentiate yourself. And if someone is listening right now and they have some challenges when it comes to their internal beliefs and so on, and want to connect with you in order to help them, how they can reach out?
So for the one hand, they can reach out over LinkedIn if they have it, at just Alexander Plank. And they can also search for Alexander Plank Coaching. They will find me. And yeah, just hit me up with a DM. And also they can reach out over you. So we're in contact. So there are possible ways. But the best way is LinkedIn, for sure.
Awesome. And the links will be down below as well in the description. And Alex, let's get back to that moment where you just hit rock bottom. You were burned out and you meet your younger self at that particular moment. In just 1 minute, what would you tell young Alex?
So when I think back to that moment, it would really this point of, you are good enough the way you are, and you achieved so much. Decide your self-worth and not some picture of the society how you should be. And that you are not only capable of helping yourself, but you also have a family around you and loved ones that help you, and that asking is a strength. and it's an advantage. And that when you believe that there is always a solution, you will find a solution. And I think the most important part when I think about how I was back then was really also taking care of yourself. That rest becomes progress, it becomes clarity, and that you need to do something for your health physically and mentally. You cherish every moment you have with this people around you, with the partner, with the family, who are there in those moments. And yeah, just give you a laugh and hope, because that's in the end all we need.
Beautifully said. And I'm sure that young Alex will be proud of you. You come a long way, Alex. And I thank you so much for being today here and sharing
So
this.
much.
And for those listening, if you stick to the end, you are in for a surprise. Me and Alex are preparing future collaborations in which you can be part of. Make sure to follow us on LinkedIn below. The links will be down below. And stay tuned, because something beautiful is coming from this collaboration and you'll learn from it.